Crofty, thank you so much for having a chat with me.
Pleasure.
I'm absolutely buzzing to meet you.
Are you?
100%.
Excellent.
Absolutely. One of these people who, like, you know, because we're so familiar listening to your voice, we probably feel like we know you better than we actually do. But what are the plans while you're here in Ireland? What are you going to be doing?
Well, Simon Lazenby tells me we're going for a Guinness in a few minutes. And I've been here now since 7 o'clock this morning, and it's now, blimey, 20 to 4. And I've not had a Guinness yet, so that does need rectifying. We're then going to go and find somewhere to have a bite to eat tonight. Then we're playing Portmarnock tomorrow.
Very nice.
In typical, wonderful, windy, rainy, gusty, horrible conditions, which my bendy arm swing might not enjoy. It's not a good swing.
Okay, on to the F1 stuff. First of all, have to ask the Alex Dunne question, because we're here in Ireland. Like, for the first time in a long time, there's a real buzz around the place, because even seeing him in F2 winning the race, seeing the tricolour flying, it's got everyone excited about the prospect of having an Irish F1 driver again. What kind of a mountain does he have to climb in order to get there?
Well, he's got to find consistency, more wins, preferably a championship as well.
Yes.
And I'm a firm believer that the ideal way to move up into Formula One is to win the F2 championship the year before, but only one can win. So, you know, if he didn't win the championship this year, would that be the worst thing? Maybe not, because at least he gets to go into F2 again next year. And don't discount how important it is to get a feel for those Pirelli tyres in F2 moving up into F1.
Yeah.
Tyre management is such an important part of any driver's ability and range these days. And that's what I think McLaren are working on with Alex quite a lot. As you would expect for any driver at that stage in his career. They tell me that he's a diamond waiting to be polished, and I think he's in the right place for it to be polished.
Amazing. You know, this is one that's probably a lot less likely, but again, we can dream. If there was ever to be a race here in Ireland,
I'd be up for that.
Where would you like to see it?
Oh, wow. Where would I like to see a race in Ireland? It wouldn't upset me to come back to Dublin year after year after year. Could we go down? Where's the horse race they run on the beach?
Oh, on the beach.
There's like a beach festival or they have a horse race.
Jeez, yeah, I should
every
know
year, like
that.
a summer
I'm
festival.
terrible with that. People are going to be screaming now.
Yeah, they are. And I'm really sorry, but let's like horsepower on the beach.
Yes.
And let's other four-wheel horsepower up on the cliffs. We'll run them at the same time.
This is perfect. This sounds great.
People keep telling me the engines these days are so quiet.
Yeah.
We could probably do that, shouldn't we?
Well, speaking of the engines, there's like kind of rumblings of a bit of concern over next year's engines being a bit underpowered, running out of power on the straight during testing. How worried should we be about that?
Well, that's what the active aero is going to help with, and reducing some of that drag so we don't get that problem. I'm sure that the clever engineers have been finding a way around this, but I'm equally sure that F1, as we know it from the last few years, will change dramatically for next season as well.
Yeah.
Sustainable fuels, different engines, cars are going to be a little smaller as well, the tyres are going to be different too. I don't know how it's going to go, but the fact that they're scheduling 9 days of testing at the moment suggests to me that there will be a few teething problems that will need ironing out before we get to Australia.
Okay. And then, look, you've been to enough F1 races to be able to have some ideas as to how to improve the racing. If you could wave a magic wand, what's a couple of things you would like to do to improve the racing?
I would paint this flag blue and I would wave it and then say goodbye. I would ban blue flags.
Oh, really?
That's exactly what I would do for the future.
And why? Why do you say that?
Because not every single category of motorsport needs a blue flag to get back markers lapped.
Yeah.
You know, they rely on the skill of the leader to actually do that. Wouldn't it be so much better for Formula One if the back markers didn't have to get out of the way? If the leader used their pace to get past those back markers, where the field closes up as a result? Can you imagine Monaco, where we get onto the tail of the back markers and they don't have to get out of the way?
It would be chaos.
Well, it would make things more interesting. You know, it might not change the result whatsoever, but it would make things more interesting. And my way is both sustainable, because we're not using so much wood and cotton to make the flags, because we don't need them. and it would also be cost effective because we're not actually adding any cost, we're taking away cost. And also we'd be saving the marshals a bit of our make.
That's actually
with
true.
all the back markers.
You've given us some great one-liners over the years, many one-liners. Is there any of them that stick out for you?
I think Through Goes Hamilton.
Through Goes Hamilton.
Was rather nice. But what?
Did you realise at the time this is iconic?
No, I didn't. I didn't and also Lewis then got overtaken about 3 corners later. But I think when I watched it back, I thought, well, this could catch on a bit. And the reason Through Goes Hamilton came into effect was so much was going on. I'm like, I'm running out of time to get all this in, and then I just saw the silver. I'm like, oh, Through Goes Hamilton, and I'm thinking it as I say it. But it was the crowd cheer when he got past. It was the fact that everyone around there was just on their feet, cheering and roaring, and it's like someone had just scored a goal. And that I think kind of makes that line so much better. And it was Silverstone, and it was Lewis doing an overtake, and British fans give every driver plenty of respect, but Lewis is very much a crowd favourite down at Silverstone. But yeah, that line wasn't bad. But every time I scream "Champion of the World," whoever it is quite good, and it's not world champion of the world.
Yeah.
Danny the Champion of the World was one of my favourite books as a kid, so I always liked Champion of the World.
We all would have loved Danny as being Champion of the World, but that didn't work out for us.
There is that.
Last question for you before we go. We'll all close our eyes and just imagine it's real. There's an Irish F1 race, it's about to kick off. Could you commentate us through the start of it?
Right, okay. It'd be something like... So we have to have the start of the season, yeah? So let's start the season, ladies and gentlemen, here in the Republic of Ireland. It's St Patrick's Day tomorrow. Will it be Sir Alex's day when it's done and dusted? Here we are, 5 lights ahead of the first Irish Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
I've got goosebumps. Thank you so much.
No worries, thank you.
I really appreciate that.